What's up, my beautiful Red Carpet Curls royalty, and welcome back to Red Carpet Curls right here on YouTube. As always, my name is Queen Monroe. I am the founder of RedCarpetCurls.com and the entire Red Carpet Curls platform. So today's video is, listen, get your notebooks out, get your notes section of your phone out, because this is going to be a very important video. Possibly one of the most important on the entire Red Carpet Curls channel. So today is the start of a series of videos because I don't think I can possibly fit in all this information into just one video, unless you guys want to sit there and watch a 1-hour video. And I don't think anyone wants to do that. So today's video is part one of our discussion on porosity. So I'm just going to put it out there right now. You all know with Red Carpet Curls, my main job is to educate you on the science behind your curls and your skin, right? I get all of my information from the study of trichology, which is the study of the hair and the scalp. So I have really done an in-depth study on our hair, all the way down to each layer of our hair strand, because yes, there are several layers in one single hair strand. I've studied even like how the scalp absorbs and how to increase circulation in the scalp so you can increase hair growth. Like, listen, I've done it all. And I have not seen one single topic as filled with misinformation as I have about porosity. So today I am going to clear all those things up. I have gone through YouTube for like the last year or so, just Googling porosity videos, and I am flabbergasted by the sheer ignorance that I've seen in so many videos. I've seen some people say, oh, low porosity means that your hair is damaged. Actually, no. Low porosity, believe it or not, is actually healthy hair. It's just very difficult to moisturize, and we'll get into the science of why that is. So I want to clear absolutely everything up for you. So the first thing I want to get to is that if you look at the description box below, you will see there is an in-depth article on redcarpetcurls.com. This is how it looks, okay? So if you go to redcarpetcurls.com, if you go to the hair care section, you will see Curly Girl Method Science Porosity 101. This is our entire article on porosity. I know it is a lot of information to go through, and listen, I've heard it all. I've heard I am way too lazy to read all of that. I don't have time for all of that. Just tell me the highlights. And I'm going to be super honest with you. If you are looking for me to just tell you, well, this is what you need to know about porosity, this is just it, you don't need to know anything else, I'm sorry. You clicked the wrong YouTube video. I'm being so honest with you. I'm going to give you every detail about porosity. I'm going to explain the science to you so that you can understand why I have gotten so angry seeing so many responses to porosity, because it's just not true. If you look at my article, you will see I have only referenced journal articles found on Google Scholar. And the reason is Google Scholar is much different from Google. Normal Google, so google.com, when you do go into it, it only brings you the most popular responses first. So that's going to be the blogs. That's going to be websites like Curly Nikki, Naturally Curly, stuff like that. And while they are great to an extent, I wanted more. I wanted the real nitty-gritty details of porosity to understand how porosity works, how it happens, and how to properly treat it. Because the Curly Girl method has the misconception that it can get very expensive. Oh, I need 1 billion products. That's not true. If before you even touch your wallet to grab your credit card or take out any cash to buy products, if you simply spend the money to get your hair analyzed, like under a microscope and everything, to find out every individual detail, this will save you so much money in the long run. You won't be a product junkie, meaning you won't buy 10,000 products. It's going to be so much more efficient to do your hair because you're going to know what your hair specifically needs and not what influencers have told you, because influencers only know about their hair. Now, there are many influencers out there that are so brilliant. For example, I love on Instagram, Lester Javier Moreno. Yo, He's doing great things out here. He even has a podcast. I love Curly Girly 143 on Instagram as well. Just phenomenal people. Sunkiss Alba is another one. Whoo, she is a walking encyclopedia of information. So there are a few influencers that I totally trust, but I needed the info for myself. So let's just jump into basic definitions first so that you understand. So let's talk about what exactly is hair porosity. So like I said, you can follow along with the article right here. But according to naturallycurly.com, this was their exact definition. Porosity is defined as a hole, gap, or opening in the cuticle. Okay, so let's talk about the hair layers for a second. There are a bunch of them. There are several different layers in one hair strand. So you can't even imagine with all of this hair, and the longer it gets and the thicker it gets, how much is going on in your hair. But essentially, if we just look at one hair strand, the outermost layer of your hair strand is called the cuticle. This is basically the door of your hair strand, okay? If you want to think about it that way. The cuticle layer has scales on it, right? Like kind of like little roof tilings and stuff like that, the little shingles. That's what you can really imagine when it comes to your cuticle. So when your cuticle is functioning the right way, it's healthy, it has proper moisture and protein, and it's sealed properly, they all lay down, all the scales lay down like this. And because of it, you are frizz-free. If all the scales are shut, that means the light from your environment can reflect off, which is what gives you shine. Shine is simply that your cuticle layer, all the scales on it, have laid down and have sealed in your moisture so that the light from whatever light source, may that be the lights like I have right here, or even the sunlight, can finally reflect off of them. Now, if your cuticle layer is damaged, so for example, for me, I used to straighten my hair every single week. I had a flat iron in my drawer that I used to use every day on certain pieces of my hair. So the more that you damage your cuticle, the more you damage your hair strands. That could be from mishandling it, improper manipulation. So if you're brushing it a lot, if you're pulling it back a lot, if you are in the sun a lot, sun is a very big factor. After 200 hours of UV, your hair starts to damage. So 200 hours is not a lot when you really look at how much time you spend outside, especially during the summer and stuff like that. So things happen. That's essentially what you need to know. And porosity essentially is just as the cuticle layer gets more unhealthy, the door starts to get holes in it. Think about like a door is supposed to close to protect you from the world, right? So the cuticle layer, the scales on it, is supposed to close to protect the moisture inside, to protect the health of the hair. When you start to get holes in it, also known as porosity, then moisture starts slipping out through those holes. Okay, it's kind of like a cheese grater. There's constant holes in it. So obviously if you're going to pour water through it or something, it's going to just go straight through the holes. That's essentially what happens with your hair. So for example, my hair is high porosity. We'll get to these definitions, but that means high porosity has a lot of holes and stuff. A lot of the moisture comes out. My hair color leaks quicker, so it fades much more quickly, and I have to do more salon visits and stuff like that. So essentially, hair porosity boils down to your hair's ability to absorb and maintain moisture. So when you look at problems for high porosity hair, we have issues holding on to that moisture. Our hair can get very wet very quick, so it absorbs quickly, but we cannot retain that moisture. That is the problem with the cuticle. That means that's where high porosity comes in. You have a lot of holes, you have a lot of damage, so you can't hold on to your moisture anymore. To really understand the concept, we need to break it down just like we did. So the cuticle layer is what you are focusing on in terms of porosity. If you are high porosity, low porosity, whatever, it has to do with the cuticle layer of your hair, the outermost layer of the hair, the so-called door to the hair strand, okay? Now, much like our skin has pores and it can absorb lotion and water and any other kind of moisture, our hair has tiny little gaps between each scale on the cuticle, okay? Through these gaps, our hair is able to receive the moisture and other products it needs along with retaining that moisture. Now, when we talk about porosity, the huge topic of porosity, we talk about three specific titles: high porosity, low porosity, and medium porosity, which is considered ideal hair. Okay. So let's get into what causes an increase in porosity. How do we end up getting all these holes in our hair strands and we lose all the moisture in our hair is unhealthy? So this is what I mean when I tell you I am giving you fact, okay? I am referencing a journal article from the Journal of Investigative Dermatology Symposium Proceedings, okay? So according to that article, an increase in porosity is called the weathering of hair, okay? Weathering is the progressive degeneration from the root to the tip of the hair cuticle and then later the cortex. The cortex is the innermost layer of the hair. That is where most of the strength of the hair is found, and that's actually where the color of your hair is found as well. So, weathering is due to constant, damage occurring every single day, all the way to the cortex due to routine everyday wear and tear. Long hair is especially susceptible to weathering. Features of weathering include damaged cuticles, longitudinal fissures known as split ends, which eventually cause breakage as well, and an increase in porosity is caused by factors such as natural weathering. So natural weathering of the hair is mechanical handling, so brushing your hair, combing your hair, putting it up in high buns, pulling it back very hard, stuff like that. Um, Genetics is also another factor. So for example, low porosity many times is often a factor of genetics. So if your mom or dad had low porosity hair, more than likely it will be passed down to you. Stress is another one. Age is another factor. As you continue to get older, your porosity can increase, due to you getting chemical treatments, you dealing with straightening irons, curling irons, stuff like that. Age is a very big factor. I'm just going to be honest with you because your hair changes over your lifetime, especially when you are pregnant or anything like that, your hair structure does change. Exposure to the elements and the environment, such as the sun. For example, I live in New York City, so I am experiencing really cold weather right now. So that's why my hair encounters damage because it gets brittle and dry. So I have to increase my deep conditioning to twice a week in the winters. So just stuff like that to pay attention to. Porosity can be caused by anything: your environment, the way you handle your hair, the products that you're using. If you do any kind of heat damage at all that will cause damage, you can just minimize how much damage. Chemical procedures such as highlights, dyeing to cover gray hair and stuff like that. All of these things, they cause damage. You can just minimize the amount of damage that's caused. You can also increase your porosity by washing too often. So if you wash your hair more than 2 or 3 times a week with a shampoo, you're going to start to see, especially if the weather around you is cold, you're literally sucking all the moisture out of your hair. Try to co-wash more often. So I only shampoo once or twice a week, and then I co-wash in between if I need it. So let's take a deeper look into the factors so that you can understand how porosity occurs and how damage occurs, okay? So let's look at a very popular procedure: bleaching. A lot of people love to bleach their hair. I have never bleached my hair. I'm just way too scared for anything like that. But bleaching is also known as a chemical treatment. So bleaching oxidizes the existing melanin, which is your hair pigment. Melanin is just your hair coloring in the cortex. Darker hair requires longer bleaching times. Red hair is more difficult to bleach than brown hair. The oxidation reaction destroys some of the disulfide bonds. Disulfide bonds, essentially, that's what Olaplex number 3 fixes. They are the bonds in your hair that provide the structure for your texture, curly hair, okay? So the only reason my hair curls is because my disulfide bonds have not broken. A 2008 article about porosity in the Journal of Cosmetic Science found that the chemical damage, so the oxidative bleach, nearly triples the hair's surface area in the first minute of bleaching. So the moment you put bleach on your hair, in 60 seconds, it literally triples the amount of surface area. That means it starts burning in those holes in the cuticle. Because in order for your hair to change color, change structure, this is what perms used to do. You need to break those disulfide bonds because they're very strong. They're gonna give you your texture. If you break those, then you can straighten your hair. You can manipulate it with heat in any way that you want. As we age, we become more susceptible to porosity being an issue for us. So for sure, when I started the curly girl method, I was high porosity. It's over 3 years later. I'm still high porosity, but I've learned how to properly manage it. One, how do you say, side effect you can say, or one common thing you see with high porosity is a lot of frizz. And that is because they have not properly learned to seal the cuticle yet. So we're in a different part, may that be part 2 or part 3 of this video, I'm going to show you tips for specific porosity so that you can enjoy great hair days no matter what your porosity is. So one of the most important things I want you to remember is that your hair shaft documents the history of the cosmetic practices that you have gone through. So as your hair keeps growing, believe it or not, when you go to your hairstylist, your hairdresser, whatever, wherever you go to, you can't lie to them. Okay, this is why hairdressers laugh when you tell them, oh, I haven't done anything lately. I did that like over 2 years ago. Your hair literally is your tracker. It tells you how much wear and tear it's been through. So please don't lie when you go to salons. There's no reason to. Um, your hair grows 1 centimeter a month. Okay, so overall that's about half an inch a month, which gives you about 6 inches a year, give or take. Now, of course, this can increase with a proper diet, with more water, but this is something I want you guys to understand. When you see people advocating for hair vitamins and stuff, and you see their hair was my length, and all of a sudden 3 months later, it's like down their back, it's just not true. I'm not trying to rip on anyone, but I'm trying to give you a realistic timeline. Your hair grows half an inch a month scientifically under the right conditions. So you need to have realistic expectations of hair growth, okay? You need to take care of it, moisturize it, seal it. And over time, especially since curly hair often grows out instead of down, you think your hair is not growing, but trust me, it is. Especially if you follow the curly girl method, your hair will be so much healthier and it will grow much, much quicker. Thanks to shrinkage, we normally think our hair is not growing, but it is. That's why long hair is so susceptible to damage. The longer that hair grows, okay, listen to me, the weaker that it is, all right? This is why the roots of your hair will be a different porosity than the ends, because the roots are still connected to your scalp. That means this hair is still alive. Any hair down here is already dead. Yes, I know that sounds weird because my hair looks very good, but all hair is actually dead once it grows out of the scalp, once it's not connected to the scalp anymore. So this is going to be much healthier, and this can be very high porosity because this is the driest, most susceptible part of your hair, the ends, okay? That's why it's very common to see multiple porosities on one head. Similar, that's why you can see multiple hair textures in one head as well. So because the roots are still connected to the scalp, it's considered healthy hair. And while the ends of your hair have endured roughly about 700 washes. So I know over time we don't really think about how often we're washing our hair, but this is why we can have different porosities. This is connected to the scalp, so this is healthy. But this down here, this has taken the most wear and tear. This is open to the environment, and we've done roughly about 700 washes. So that's why we can have different porosities. Also, the application of heating tools is a factor, as well as other procedures such as relaxers, bleaching, and permanent coloring. This changes your porosity. Please hear me. This causes an increase in the damage of your hair and therefore different porosities. It's possible to have multiple porosities on one head. Okay, so that's the major things I want you to take out of part 1 of porosity. Porosity occurs because of damage, natural weathering to your hair. Everyone will suffer from porosity problems, may that be from genetics or just the way you're caring for your hair now. Now in the next part 2, I'm going to explain to you the differences between low porosity, high porosity, and ideal porosity so that we can get into those tips for you guys. So I really hope you like this video. I hope that you click the link below to go to my website, redcarpetcurls.com, to really read all of this science, because I'm telling you, this is pivotal. This will change your game. It will change the products you purchase and the way you apply products. So I hope you will join me for part 2 of Porosity 101, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.